Hello and welcome to today's session for those of you joining live and for those that are going to be catching the recording. So in today's session, we are going to need your strap, yoga blocks times two, a bolster, and you might even want cushion. So I really have got a lot of things going on. And when you're lying down, you're going to want to have something under your head that keeps your head, neck, and spine in alignment. So just something nice and supportive under your head. Okay, and we're going to start inside, come down through side line to lie on our back and come to semi-supine. But remembering everything that we do in our sessions needs to be pain and strain free. So never pushing into discomfort. Really always ensuring that you have the okay from your healthcare team to join sessions like this. And yeah, please feel free to ask questions on the group chat or via the website. Okay, so coming down gently through side lying to our semi-supine to begin. So just kind of settling in to begin with into our practice today. Just checking your alignment of the spine. Maybe tucking your shoulders in and under, so creating more space through the front of the chest. Bringing your hands to your belly and the elbows will kind of make a nice diamond shape to your sides. Your knees are bent and the feet are flat on the floor and they're hip width apart. And if you are feeling particularly tired today, you might want to allow your knees to fall in towards each other. And maybe just taking a few nice sighing breaths. So we're going to breathe in through the nose and then sigh out through the mouth, letting whatever's happened before today's session blow away. In through the nose, exhaling, letting go of responsibilities, to-do lists. One more breath in through the nose, out through the mouth. Just really honoring this time for yourself on your mat today. So really, this is a time for you to allowing sensations in the body to be felt, allowing emotion that may bubble up to be felt. Because life is often really busy and there isn't space and time to really allow. And it's really important to carve this time out. So let's just take a moment just to scan through the body to check for tension, maybe being held. So let's come to the face and the brow. So just softening your forehead, releasing any furrows that may be in the brow. Coming to the eye area, releasing tension that may be held in the tiny muscles around the eye area. Coming down to the jaw. Let's just open the mouth now as wide as it can go. Maybe have a wiggle of the jaw. Have a yawn if that comes through. It's a really nice way to support the nervous system to relax, let go, wiggling the jaw. And then coming down through the neck, again, just noticing if we're kind of holding our shoulders up round our ears, can they release away, creating more space, allowing the shoulders to relax down towards the floor. And then bringing your attention down through the spine, all the way to the pelvis. And letting the bones of the pelvis soften and widen. And then just noticing as we come down through the legs, just feeling the connection between your feet and the earth. So hopefully the mind may be settling down a little bit. Hopefully we're dropping more into the felt sense of your body. And then we're going to start to bring the awareness to the pelvis and the pelvic floor. That's where our practice is going to kind of focus on today, is the pelvic floor and the core. So they work together with the diaphragm. So we've got the diaphragm at the top. So that's obviously really part of our breathing mechanism. And then we've got the core muscle, which goes around. It's a huge muscle that goes all the way around the trunk like a corset. And then at the bottom of this lovely structures like this, the core as a whole, we've got the pelvic floor, which we used to think was a bit like a basket in the pelvis, kind of holding and supporting all of our abdominal content and pelvic organs. But actually it works dynamically with the diaphragm, with that lovely corset-like muscle. Okay, so as we breathe in, you can feel the diaphragm domes down and the pelvic floor softens and widens. And as we breathe out, the diaphragm domes up and the pelvic floor gently domes up. So just feeling that as we breathe in, gently feeling the pelvic floor soften and widen. And as we breathe out, it gently domes up. And it's not as strong and a larger movement as our breathing diaphragm, but just taking the awareness there and noticing the movement of the breath now. So we're almost just at the moment, just saying hello to the pelvic floor, all the different muscles there. So it's multiple layers of muscle that make the pelvic floor. It's a very complicated kind of network of muscles and different layers of that muscle. Good. So now we're going to bring our feet to connect in the middle, and we're going to take our blocks. We're going to let the knees gently come out to the sides, and we're going to pop our blocks in to support the legs, okay? And if you feel like actually I need more support than that, you might want to bring in cushions as well to support the legs to come out into like a butterfly shape. But what you want, the most important thing is for them to feel absolutely held here, okay? So you might want to put blocks underneath your shins to support the legs. So they might want to come right down towards your ankles to support the legs, or you might want to add in cushions as well to really allow the legs to relax. So choose what's right for you. What do you need to have that comfort? Because here we're going to really start to feel into the different parts of the pelvic floor. Okay, so obviously we also know, you know, for women, if we've had children, if we've had surgery in the pelvic area, you know, we can end up with issues with continence, feeling uncomfortable in this area, back problems because we've got a weakened core. You know, there's all sorts of reasons why we might have a weak core, and then there's obviously different problems that we can experience when our core's not strong. And it's the same for men in terms of, having a weaker core and ending up with back problems, or any surgery is same again. So as we are here, this is creating space through the middle of the body. Okay, I want you to start to just notice where your spine is. So just ensuring that you're in neutral spine to begin with. Okay, so there should be a curve in the lower back. We shouldn't be completely collapsing the back into the floor, so rounding the spine into the floor. So just finding neutral spine. So you should be able to put your fingers underneath your back, but not your whole hand. And then we're going to just focus on the different parts of pelvic floor. Okay. So starting first of all, we're going to work with the urethra. So that's our urinary sphincter. Okay. So we're going to inhale together. And as we exhale, gently pulling up on the urethra. So that's like stopping ourselves pee mid-flow. So just gently engaging that as we exhale. So it's not squeezing too tight, it's just a gentle drawing in and up. And then exhale, let that be soft. Okay, and then we're going to work on the anus. So we're going to inhale, so everything is soft. And then exhale, gently contracting the anal sphincter. So that would be if we wanted to stop, if we were going to the loo, just stopping ourselves there. And then exhale and let that be soft. Good. And then for women, the walls of the vagina now. So we're going to inhale, everything is soft. Exhale, gently drawing the walls of the vagina together and up. And then exhale to let it all be soft. So that's 3 parts now. And now we're going to come to the perineum. So that's the space in between. And I want you now think about engaging to draw the perineum up. So it's gently lifting. So we're not doing a squeeze. We're gently lifting. It's almost like a lift going upwards, okay, towards the head. So we're going to inhale together. And then exhale, gently lift the perineum. So it's almost like we're taking all of those different sphincters upwards. And then release and let it be soft. Okay. So just noticing those different parts, okay? And often most of us tend to hold everything very tight all of the time. Okay, so even though you might think, oh, actually mine's weak, I've got a little bit of continence issues or something's going on or whatever, actually that's probably because it's always switched on. Normal for many people, not everybody, but it's always switched on. So actually when we need it to work, there's nowhere for it to go. Okay, so what we want to learn to do is for it to be soft when we don't need it to work, and then engage is when we do need it to work. Okay, so that's a really great place to just get a sense of what's happening. So from here, let's just gently bring the legs back into neutral. So back to our semi-supine. We can put the blocks to one side. From here, we're going to just start to straighten the right leg and then bend it. So we're just getting into the hamstrings a little bit here. So just gently bending the knee and then straightening the knee. And here, just notice what's happening with the pelvis. So I want you to try and keep that neutral spine. So sometimes if our hamstrings are tight, it will round the spine. So it will round the spine. So we'll start pushing the lower back into the floor. So try and keep that little curve in the lower back as you bend and straighten the right leg. Yeah, so just getting into a nice stretch. Might want to have the ankle at 90 degrees. That's going to get more of a stretch through the fascia. Good. And then the next time your knee bends, that right knee, I want you to take your strap. And with your strap, putting it over the front of the foot, so the ball of the foot. And we're going to gently straighten, and you probably can hold that with your right hands, your strap there. And then again, we're going to straighten that knee a little bit to give a nice stretch through the hamstrings. And again, notice what's happening with the back. So you want to keep that neutral spine. You don't want to round to bring the leg closer to you. I want you to really just make sure that firstly, we've got a neutral spine, and then we're stretching the hamstring. Now, hamstrings are really important with our pelvic floor because they connect in with one of the layers of the pelvic floor. So having nice release in the hamstrings actually is very good for our pelvic floor health. So we're just going to spend some time here. And if you want to, you might want to straighten the leg, the left leg. Pam, I'd keep it bent up for now. Checking that the right knee is straight and checking that we've got that nice neutral spine. Good. Breathing here. Feeling that lengthening, making sure we're not pushing into pain anywhere. We've got a nice deep stretch, but we're not in discomfort. Good. And then if your leg is straight, I would bend it back up again. And then we're going to just gently, keeping a hold again with the strap, let that right leg gently come out to the side, pushing into the inside of your right foot into your strap. So we're coming into a little stretch out to the side now. Little adductor stretch. So adductors, so they're the muscles that bring our legs in to the midline. Stretching them, again, they attach into the second layer of the pelvic floor. So it's really good to give them a little stretch. And then come back to the center and then releasing off, bending the knee. And then we're going to take your right hand onto your right knee, and we're going to circle that knee in one direction. Good. And then the other direction. Very nice. Let's release that foot to the floor and just noticing for a moment how your right side feels in comparison to your left for a minute. Good. And then we're going to repeat on the other side. Okay, so let's start by bending and straightening at the knee. So just getting a little bit of a warm up for the hamstring, bend and straighten. And noticing as we lift the leg, does it mean that we rock backwards on the pelvis? Do we want to keep that neutral spine again? I'm very guilty of rolling backwards. Very nice. And the next time the knee comes into a bent position, let's bring your strap around the ball of the foot, that left side, and then we're going to gently straighten the leg. We're going to keep that lovely neutral spine. Left hand's holding your strap, and you're coming into that nice hamstring stretch. And again, if you wanted to, you might want to straighten your right leg along the floor. That's comfortable for you. Keep breathing, noticing if you're like holding tension anywhere else. Let your shoulders relax down. Let your right hand not be like tensed and gripped. Just noticing like when things are a little bit more challenging, do we suddenly hold tension in other parts of the body? And then gently letting that left leg come out to the side a little bit. stretching into the adductor muscles, those muscles that bring the legs into the midline, pushing into the inside of that left foot. And then gently coming back to the center. And then if your right leg is bent, bringing that up, gently releasing and taking the strap out. And from here, we're going to take your left hand onto your left knee and circle into the hip one way. And then the other way. It's like very noisy happening outside my house. An aeroplane. Sorry. And then releasing the feet to the floor. So now we're going to take all of the pressure off of the pelvic floor region by popping something underneath your pelvis. So that could be a bolster or a couple of blocks. See what's most comfortable for you. Okay, so that we are just, so you might push through your feet, lift the bottom, and we're just lifting the pelvis up. So it's like a supported bridge pose here. Okay, so once you find that place, just notice if you can let the core be soft here. Can you get that sense that all of the pelvic organs are now not bearing down? Can you see that we are absolutely releasing the pressure on the pelvic floor here? The knees are hip width apart, the feet are flat on the floor. So again, let's practice those the different parts of the pelvic floor. So we've got the different sphincters here and just noticing how different it feels in different positions. So let's inhale together. Exhale, gently pulling up on the urethra. So imagining ourselves gently stopping ourselves pee mid-flow, engaging that. And then release and let it be soft. Inhale together. As you exhale, gently contracting the anus, so that'd be like stopping ourselves going to the loo. Holding that contraction. And then releasing, let it be soft. And for women, inhale. Exhale, drawing the walls of the vagina together and up. Holding that for a moment. And then letting it be soft. And then let's use the perineum now. So we're going to gently lift the perineum. Okay, so that's the space between the urethra and the anus. So we're going to inhale. Exhale, gently lifting that whole area up. But again, it's not a squeeze and a tightening, it's a lifting sensation. And then let it be soft. And just noticing, was that easier because we've got that pelvic content out of the way? And then I'm going to teach you a little mudra, which is about hand positioning. So you can hopefully see me. You don't need to sit up. I'm going to show you something. Okay, so hair's all falling down. Excuse that. So we're going to put our index finger at the base of our thumb. Okay, and then the middle finger and the ring finger at the top of our thumbs. And it's our little finger's the only finger that's not joining up. Yeah. Okay, so index finger at the base of the thumb, middle and index connecting in with the top of the thumb, and your little finger is not doing anything. It's not joining in with the mudra at all. Okay, so mudras are different hand postures that can help with the different energies in the body. Okay, and seeing if we can come to this with an open mind. So before the kind of chatter of the mind starts, let's just stay here with this mudra, okay? And this mudra is all about supporting the downward flow of energy. Okay, so from here, just seeing if we can gently take the breath all the way down into the pelvis, into the pelvic floor. So we're not forcing the breath, but just seeing if the mudra can support energy to move downwards. So actually what we're learning to do here with the support of the mudra is almost like we're massaging the pelvic floor. So in everyday life, we can often be breathing very much in our chests. But actually we've got huge lungs, you know, they go from our collarbones all the way down to the lower ribs. They're huge, but we just don't make the most of them a lot of the time. So using a mudra like this and focusing the breath all the way down into the pelvic floor means we're really making the most of our lungs, and we're supporting the movement of the gut and the pelvic floor. So I want to do a little experiment with you guys. So I want you to let go of the mudra on the left hand and just have it held on the right hand for now. Continue to breathe in and out through your nose. And notice where the breath moves. Is it easier to breathe down to the right now or to the left? I'm going to shut the door because there's a lot of noise coming in. Good. And then letting go of that practice. Releasing the mudras on both sides for a moment, just breathing normally again. And then we'll do the same on the other side. So we're not going to do a mudra with the right hand, but the left hand, we're going to put the index finger at the base of the thumb, and then the middle finger and the ring finger connecting in with the top of the thumb. Little finger not doing anything. Coming back to breathing in nice and into the pelvic floor area. Just noticing if the mudra affects which side the breath moves more freely. And then let's bring the mudra back to the other side just to balance ourselves out. So bringing your index finger to the base of the thumb on the right and the middle and fourth finger to the top of the thumb. And just taking a few last breaths here with the mudra on both sides. And when we think about this is like supporting downward energy, this is also really good if you know your gut is feeling a bit slow and sluggish. This can support your regular bowel movement. It's very good. Good. And then releasing the mudra, and we can gently take our bottom off of our the support that's underneath if you haven't done so already. Good. Okay, good. So hopefully you're feeling like you have more kind of awareness in that area of the pelvic floor, noticing how, there's lots of different areas. So often when I'm talking about, engaging the pelvic floor, I'm talking about gently stopping yourself pee mid-flow, and drawing the belly button back towards the spine. So now hopefully you've got a sense of all of the different areas that we're working on. But sometimes that can be really confusing, hence I normally go for a more simplistic way of describing it. But sometimes it's nice just to get that sense that it's such a complex unit of muscles, and you might start to notice which areas are actually feeling like, oh, I can't even contract that area, that feels really weird and numb, or I don't know what's happening there. Then that's a place for you to maybe start to focus a little bit more on when we are working with the core, because it might be that you're just using one area, either at the front or the back or the middle. It's nice to start really thinking about lifting that whole area. Okay, so let's come into some pedaling now for the whole of the right leg. Mobilizing your hips and your knees now. Really nice. And then let's reverse that pedal. Good. Bring that foot to the floor, just noticing how that right leg feels after that practice, and then pedaling forwards with your left leg. Good. And then reversing the pedal. Good. Releasing down. Let's come into some bridging here. Okay, so today we're going to do the hugging the elbows into the sides, the fingertips pointing towards the ceiling. We're going to push through the feet to lift the pelvis off the floor. And as you exhale, just gently taking your tailbone from right to left as you lower it to the floor, but just seeing what's comfortable for you today. If actually taking the pelvis from left to right is not comfortable, then it's very okay to just come straight down. So as we've just done all that like awareness of the pelvic floor and the core, just noticing now as we come down which areas you feel are engaging kind of most easily, and maybe the areas where you need to bring a little bit of attention. I think more than anything, it's feeling like it's a lift, and then like we're kind of almost like a lift is coming up through the body rather than a squeezing of the pelvic floor. I think that's if you're in like not taking, if there's something you're going to take from it, that's probably the most important thing. Good. Good. And then releasing down and just wiggling the hips out gently. I'm going to move my hands. Nice. Let's just now have the feet hip width apart, and we're just going to gently take the knees from side to side. So we're just starting to mobilize into the spine. This is not suitable if you have any osteoporosis or any spinal instability, any bone mets or anything like that. So skip this one if that is the case. Gently from side to side. Good. And then the next time your legs come over to the left, I want you to let them relax down, but I want you to bring a cushion or bolsters or whatever you need so that the legs can just really be held, okay? So we're not going into a deep, deep stretch. You might want to put a cushion between the legs as well. So that might be really nice that we can come into that twist without overstraining into a position where your body can really let go. So you're bringing the floor up to meet you on that left hand side, and you've got something between the legs if that's comfortable for you, so you can really relax. And then either having the arms at 90 degrees to the body, so like making a T shape with the arms, or bringing the arms into a cactus shape by your sides. So that would be the elbows at 90 degrees, the shoulders at 90 degrees. And your head can gently roll to the right. And so here we are in a lovely twist. And when we're in a twist, we want to breathe into our side ribs. And we're creating that lovely detoxification in the organs, helping to squish out the stale blood as we come into the twist. And when we release from twists, it allows fresh blood to flush in. Good. Inhale together now. Exhale, engage the core. Let's bring the arms down by the side and gently bring your knees back to center. And then going to the other side. So the feet are hip width apart. You're going to bring something nicely under the right side of the leg so that the knee comes down but is supported. And maybe you've got a cushion between the knees again. And where do you want your arms? Either by your sides in a T shape, palms facing up, or cactus arms. So you're going to get a deeper stretch through the diagonals of the body. And maybe turning with your head to look to the left. Taking the breath into the side ribs. And if you have any abdominal, any scar tissue in the abdominal area, then you may really want to breathe the breath in and under those structures now as well. That's also going to be very supportive for scar tissue. Good. Inhale together. Exhale, engage the core to bring the knees back to center. And we can pop your cushions, whatever you've been using, to one side. And then let's just do a little bit of work for the shoulders. So we bring the fingertips to the shoulders and just circling your elbows. So just getting some nice stretch into the shoulder area. And then the other way. And then releasing the arms down by your sides, bringing the arms now into like as if you're standing to attention. So the little fingers are connecting into the mat, thumbs are pointing towards the ceiling, shoulders back and down. And then we're going to shrug the shoulders up towards the ears. Inhaling, and then exhale, draw your fingers down towards your feet. Inhale to lift up, shrugging the shoulders. Exhale to draw down. Inhaling up. Exhale down. Inhaling up. Exhale down. Good. Coming back to neutral and just allowing your head to roll from side to side. So it'll do that lovely massage for the back of the head. Good. Coming back to center. And then from here, let's just gently come to all fours. So again, if all fours is uncomfortable on your knees, you might want to pop cushions or a blanket under your knees. It's a good idea to do that. And then we're going to arrive in all fours. So when we're in our tabletop position, we want our knees directly under our hips and our hands directly under our shoulders. So there's options here. So yeah, anything you need under your knees. If your wrists are uncomfortable, you in that kind of a position where you're doing quite a stretch through the wrist, you might want to have your hands in fists. And then the wrists are straight, and equally, if even that is not comfortable, you might want to bring a bolster and lean onto your bolster with your forearms. So there's options, yeah, whatever is right for you. But the main aim is to have our spine flat here. So it's actually, we're not having that kind of, we're not looking so much for the curve, we're not looking more for a flat spine here. So from here, let's just allow the belly to hang low, but not arch the back. Okay, so keep the back nice and long. Can you allow your belly to just release? And from here, inhaling. And as you exhale, can you draw your belly button back towards your spine, but keep the spine long, so you're not changing the position of the spine. And then exhaling, let's let everything release. Belly hangs low, but we're not arching the spine. Okay, so my back's staying completely in the same position. We're going to inhale together. Exhale, engage the core now. So belly button draws back towards your spine, pulling up gently on our pelvic floor. And then release and let the belly hang low. So it's really good for us to start to learn to use the pelvic floor and the core in different positions. Let's do one more. Inhale. Exhale, belly button draws back towards the spine, pulling up gently on our pelvic floor area. So getting that lovely lift. And then release. Good. Let's come into now an arch of the spine. So again, this is not good if we've got osteoporosis in the spine. We don't arch the spine. We've just come to neutral spine. And then we come into a gentle arch to look up. Okay, so we're going exhaling. We're in our cat pose, so like a hissing cat, arching the back. And then inhaling to our cow, so it's like a cow smelling the daisies. Exhale, arching. So just mobilizing the spine. Good, coming back to neutral. All right, so from here, we're going to inhale. And as we exhale, I want you to gently take your leg back behind. Now, if that feels really challenging for you, you might want to keep your foot connected to the floor. If you want to add a little bit more challenge, you might want to feel that leg reaching back behind, okay? And for those of you that are finding that super easy, you might want to reach forward with your left hand. So just find what's right for you, keeping the spine long, keeping that nice stretch through the body. So find what's right and then coming back to our starting position, and then let the belly be soft. Yeah, so always coming back to softness in the core. Inhale. Exhale, engage our core as we straighten the left leg, so it could just be the leg straightening back, connected to the floor, or we might want to lift that leg behind, or we might want to straighten the right hand in front. So that's our bird dog, but there's all the levels and we don't need to push against any discomfort coming back to center. Good. Let's just take a moment just to release the wrists. So you might want to do that one at a time, or come onto your come into a kneeling position to release the wrists off. And gently coming back. Good. Let's gently come to standing now. So just taking your time to make your way into standing. So absolutely no rush. I'm just going to move my camera. You can see more of me. And then, oh, lucky. Take moving everything out of the way so that you're not going to be there's no tripping hazards. All right. So hopefully you can see my whole body. All right. Okay, so from here, let's find mountain pose. So our feet are hip width apart. Okay, checking our weight distribution between your big toe mound, your little toe mound, and the outside of the heels. Your knees are soft, so you're not locking the knees back. We come up to the pelvis, feel that little curve in the lower back. So we've been working on that a lot today, just making that, having that neutral spine. Lengthening up through spine and out through the top of the head. Shoulders draw back and down, and your head and neck are soft and free to move. Good. So this is mountain. So I just want you to take this moment in mountain, just to feel that stability, that groundedness, as if you were a mountain, just embodying that sense of being a mountain for a moment. Good. And then also we've got those lofty peaks, so we draw energy from the earth up through the body and out through the top of the head. Really nice. So from here, we're going to come into a little bit of balance work. So if you need to, find somewhere where you can hold onto back of a chair, a windowsill, okay? And from here, we're going to lift up onto the balls of the feet and then exhale to lower down with control. Inhale to lift. As you exhale and lower, engage the core. Inhale to lift. Exhale, engage the core to lower. Good. And if we wibbly wobbly, it's okay. That means we're working the different systems of the body. So your proprioception, core. And if you want to add a little bit more challenge, you might want to bring the arms out to the side in a big sun circle. Sorry, my hands, I can see, can't see them in the video. They're connecting above the head. And then exhale to lower the heels and the hands at the same time. Good. Inhale, coming up. Exhale to lower with control. Good. So keeping your focus, so keeping your, your head forwards. If your focus starts going down, and tends to bring us forwards. Just noticing that. Good. The next time the arms are in the air, I want you to release the heels down, but keep that stretch. Okay, through the whole of the body. And I want you to stretch through the right side and through the left side. So just getting some nice side bending. It's almost coming into like a banana shape. Stretching the side body. Good. So it's almost like you could be reaching up to pull something down, reaching up to pull something down. Good. And then taking our feet a little bit wider maybe, and having those upper body just absolutely relaxed. This is our ragdoll joint releasing. So we just allow a little bit of movement. So as we swing to the left, our right heel lifts. As we swing to the right, our left heel lifts. So just make sure you're bringing that lift. That's going to reduce any strain in the knees. And this is just so nice for letting everything soften up. Yeah, so we're letting go of a lot of the work we've been doing. Yeah. Really nice. And then those circles can get smaller and smaller. Feeling lengthening in the spine. And then coming to stand and bringing one hand to your heart space, one hand to your belly. Softening the gaze. Completely closing down the eyes. Whatever's comfortable for you. This is a really lovely way to seal the practice. So it's almost like we're doing a standing resting posture here, standing Shavasana. Absorbing into the body all of those beautiful effects of our practice today. And just really thanking yourself for making the effort to practice, to connect in with your body, your breath, and hopefully moments with your inner self amidst the busyness of our lives. And then maybe bring your hands to prayer positions, bowing your head. Bowing your head to your heart and to your practice. And to each other. What a lovely little community we are. Namaste. Go gently, drink plenty of water and have a power nap.